Welcome to the Joe Cohen Show. Join me as I share my experience with biohacking and invite top health experts to explore the latest technology, supplements, research, and resources for optimizing your body and brain. In this podcast, I want to talk about what are some of the summary reports that we have, genetic reports in general. We recently released a series of genetic reports that focuses on reports by other companies. So essentially, what we said is, okay, look, there's all these companies promising genetic reports. Our technology is way better, right? We're looking at 200 million variants, actively looking at all these variants to using very complex technology, AI and machine learning, very sophisticated AI. And we're really on the cutting edge of being able to predict disease with genetics. And just in general, there's so much you could do with genetics in terms of personalized health, understanding what's specifically for you. And what we saw is so many companies just coming out. There's like a new company every day that's, hey, look, we're a genetics testing company and we do genetics. And we're like, okay, let's look at the reports. We see the reports. Usually they're looking at anywhere between, 5 and 100 SNPs, maybe 200 SNPs for genetic variants. And we said, why don't we just recreate all these companies and make it a lot better? So if they talk about a topic, we could even make it more accurate, include all the variants that they include, but also include way more. So we launched this 100X series of competitor reports where we take, if somebody's, hey, can you recreate this report for us? We're like, okay, sure. We will recreate any genetic report that you want on the market. And it's very easy for us to do because these are shit reports, right? They're not using any sophisticated technology. We'll recreate it. We'll just put it in SelfDecode. We actually put it in the marketplace. We have this SelfDecode marketplace. So I'm going to go through some of these competitor reports that we've done because people have a lot of questions. Right now, you go to DNA Health Summary and Competitor Reports. So these summary reports are taking a whole bunch of individual reports and putting them into one report. Now, we took the same concept and we said, okay, let's do this for competitor reports. Now, this is our 100X series because we believe that these reports are similar concepts to what you're getting. So similar kind of just topics and categories and genes, but it's 100X better. So instead of a 3x4 report, we called it 300 by 400 report. And you could see what this looks like. So let's go into the details here. So cellular health, methylation. So under cellular health, there's methylation. You can see these are all the genetic variants, and we combine them all together to give you an overall score of methylation. So in this case, looking at 32 genetic variants. And in these other cases, like with these other reports, it's only looking at one or two. It's not able to look at many genetic variants together. And so we're looking at all these things with a lot more variants, like fasting glucose. Instead of looking at just a few, we're looking at almost 1 million here. And we include all the genetic variants that they have as well, plus many more. And so you can look at all the specific genetic variants, and you can also look at, but it's also more accurate because looking at way more genetic variants. But you could look at the specific ones, and you could also look at the more general ones, the ones with the polygenic risk scores. So that's, in this case, cognitive function, 341,000 variants. And so I'm going to go through a list of all these reports that we have, just so people understand where we took inspiration from. There's no copyright because we didn't copy any of their content. All the technology is ours. There's no copyrights on just taking genetic variants and structuring them in a given way. 3x4 says, hey, we got these genetic variants. We could just take those variants and say, okay, here you go. As long as we don't call it the same report, it's not their report, there's no problem. So we call it 300 by 400 functional DNA report. Nutrigenomics, we call it Nutrigenome 100X functional report. There's a company called Intellex DNA. We call it Super Intel 100X DNA. This is a NutraHacker report. We call it the 100X NutraBiohacker functional DNA report. DNA detoxification. I think there's a company called Genetic Detoxification. We call it 100X DNA detoxification. This is Genetic Genie. We call it Genetic Genius. So again, I'm just trying to show you if you're trying to look for a given kind of structure where we got inspiration, we call it the 100X Genetic Genius functional report. And again, we structure it similar to how these reports are structured, plus it's a lot better as well. It also has better recommendations. So you see methylation, MTHFR, this is MTRR, this is what these Genetic Genie is going on, BHMT, AHCY. So all the genes that it was discussed there, it just shows you all the variants plus more. Then we have, what else is there? This is DNA Life. So this is Nordic Labs has a DNA Life report. We call it 100X Genetics Life. Wild Health, we call it Wildly Healthy, 100X Wildly Healthy. GX Scientific, so it's G100X Scientific. 100X Genetics Company, this is the DNA company. Toolkit Genomics, this is Toolkit Genetics. PG, this is the Precision Genetic Test by, call it 100X Precise Genomic Test. This is by 10X Health. They charge $1,300 for this thing. And we include all the variants plus way more. Tree of Living, I think this is Tree of Life. Found My Fitness, we call it 100X. Discovered My Fitness. So let's see this. DNA, My DNA Food is My Gene Food. Hair Roots there's a hair test. Epigenomics, I think this is epigenetics, functional 100X epigenetics. That's what the company's called. And this is genetic life hacks. We call it 100X genomic life hacks. So I just wanted to show you, and if anyone wants any kind of more reports that another company has, we can easily just recreate it given the structure that they have. So let's look at this one. Summary, Found My Fitness. So we just look at the cellular health, Found My Fitness. They look at these topics, these genes. Longevity, she's looking at these genes for longevity, and we could show you, she's only able to look at one SNP for each of these. We can actually look at multiple SNPs for a gene. Diet and Fitness, she's looking at these genes. Again, she's looking at one specific genetic variant for vitamin D, but actually there's many different genetic variants. And so we're still bringing this down because that's how her report is structured. But actually, if you want to look at vitamin D, there's going to be more things. I would look at our diet and nutrition report. Food sensitivities, inflammation. So we just bring down all the genes that she brought down, and we have all the recommendations there. What these people are doing is very simple. We show you all the specific genetic variants. When you look at the details, you could download this as a PDF. See, this says this is one genetic variant. This says 2 MTRR, GSTP1, SLCO1B1, COQ2, FOXO3. So we just go through all the variants that are brought down in these genes, all the different genes plus the variants. And this is basically what these reports are. And she'll have, what we do is for the recommendations, we combine all these recommendations together. So you could see in this case, dietary folate, this is going to take into account multiple genes. The only difference is that you might have in that report just one gene at a time. You see here, betaine takes into account multiple genes. Leafy green vegetables, these take into account multiple genes, and also the labs, by the way, which is something you can't do with these other tests. So you see zinc, take it because there's actually 3 genes that are not optimal here. It shows you which ones. You could see how it helps. And then it also shows you what your actual zinc level is. So yeah, this is not only is the report nicer, easier to understand, better, just technology-wise, it has better recommendations, better content. And so it's better in pretty much every way. That's why we call it 100X. I wouldn't waste your money on any of these garbage reports by other companies. You can just either buy them on their own within SelfDecode, or you could, if we have a marketplace where you could buy it on its own, or you could get it just within SelfDecode. So if you just want that report on its own, you can get it in a marketplace. That is all. Thank you very much. 67% of listeners aren't subscribed to the show, so please don't forget to show your support by hitting the subscribe button now. You'll not only be supporting the show, but also investing in yourself and your health journey, all while helping keep us ad-free.